Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Think Africa. Today we are going to talk about black tax. So I hope you've come ready to learn and listen, and I hope also you have questions to ask. So without further notice, I will welcome Kingsley to talk to us about black tax. So Kingsley, welcome.
Thank you so much, Charity, and thank you everyone for joining this talk about the economic impact of black tax. So today, it has to be more, if I would say, it has to be more interactive. So get your questions ready. As you probably know, this topic, black tax, and how it's coined, there's a lot of sentiment to this, and then there's a lot of different angle to it in a way that the way it shows up in our lives varies from individual, our experiences, and so on. So let's keep it open, and the whole idea is actually for us to learn. Myself, I believe that economic sustainability is so important, and that's why I've begun to talk about these issues so that we can find a way to actually manage it in a way that it is sustainable, in a way that is not affecting our financial future and so on. So again, welcome to this talk. So I will just briefly give you some kind of definition about black tax, how it's coined, that term black tax, the cross of it. And then also I'll be talking about the different way to handle it, the strategies of tackling this particular issue that affects most of us. And then, of course, I will be sharing with you people my sort of how I dealt with it. Okay. So, but before we go into that, let me just give you a little bit of backstory about myself. So, I left Nigeria at my teenage age. So that happened as a result of me suddenly losing my parent with one of my sisters in a car accident. So pretty much I came from a very, what you would call a little bit maybe above middle class family. So things was okay, school was fine, I'm just a normal child living like really good life, one would say. Okay. So but what happened when the accident happened, all of a sudden, it's like the shift that happened in my life is like from 0 to 360 degrees. Okay. And being that when my parent died, I was left with four sisters, four younger sisters. I'm the eldest one. The youngest one at that time was about 7 going to 8, and my immediate younger sister was about turning 17. Okay. So my journey to Europe wasn't the usual way where people go, you buy tickets and you look at different option of traveling and that sort of thing. That wasn't my own case. So like I said, my parents died young, and I raised four sisters along the way, and I've been able to cross 5 countries' borders on foot. So, and one thing also that is worth mentioning, which I think is relating to this topic of black tax that we're discussing today, is that in my early teen, I was my background is in track and field, so I was fairly competing, doing well in track. So I was doing 800 and 400 meters track. So now when I eventually transited to Europe, just as a way, because there wasn't anyone that is going to, like, it's looking after my younger ones. Then there wasn't like, and at that time too, so that you guys understand, black tax is not, it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in Africa taking care of your parent or your grandparent or your siblings. It doesn't matter. The moment you're able to, the moment you're able to have a little bit of edge financially, the rest are going to be looking up for you for help, you know. So my own mom was sort of the one who is actually like taking care of his family as well at the time. So when she finally died, there wasn't anyone to look after her kids, which is why this talk is very important, because if she was, or if they were able to like what you see in most European countries, where they have, you know, funds for their kids. So in case if they pass, their kids also can have something that they can start their life with. So all that stress, all that difficulties was the main thing that actually forced me out. Okay. So, and throughout that time, I spent like 3 years in between before I finally even get to Finland. Okay. And during that time, coming to Finland, my thought was like, it wasn't even more about my career, pursuing it or doing everything I need to do to even excel, but my primary focus was just mainly to just get some kind of job so that I'm able to, you know, take care of my younger ones. But that's exactly what I did. So in a nutshell, that's just a little bit about my background. So I'm going to break it down exactly how, you know, this phenomenon, black tax, how it affects our finances and how it can affect your future as well. So we're going to talk about the economic impact and how properly you can handle it with the strategy and everything. All right. So the economic impact of black tax, what it does is that it will keep you struck economically. All right. And once this become part of your life, it is almost impossible for you to save money. Bearing in mind, it's not that how we might see it, like we don't have access to fund and that sort of thing. We have access to, you might have access to fund, right? But how do you make sure it is sustainable? It is something that you can not just for you, but for even your kids. Okay, that if anything happens to you, your family your children can have something that they can start up with, right? So it keeps you in this perpetual feeling of like you're just constantly feeling like you're just starting all over again, because you have people that are depending on you. You have people that want you to help them, and at the same time, you know that if you don't help them, that their situation is also like not going to be okay, because obviously some of them have supported us in order for us to come to Europe or wherever we are, so that we're able to in turn support them back. Okay, so that's for you thinking about them, and at the same time thinking about how you are going to take care of your own finance and your own situations. It becomes like really double burden, you know, and supporting your family, you know, paying their expenses. These are common sort of phenomena that occur amongst, you know, from generation to generation. Okay. You look at your colleagues, for example, you might have a colleague that you're working together, you receive a similar amount of money, but they're already saving, they have different investment class where they put money and they generate more for them. But for you, it's almost like impossible. So you stay in this perpetual sort of structural inequality that affects you and continue to affect you. So despite your hard work, personal growth is almost impossible. It continues to be diluted. So, and there is no way you make generational sort of wealth. Your money doesn't accumulate, your finance is stored. And even if you think like you're keeping track of time, by the time you look, maybe 10 years, 15, 4, whatever, like you just look and you just see that before you realize it, you're getting old and you haven't like really accomplished anything and there's nothing. But the biggest problem with this is that your children are the ones that are actually going to actually bear the brunt. They're the ones that are going to like really suffer the consequences. Okay. So how you this might sound like a reputation, but I want you guys to understand that there is nothing bad about this, what we are coining this to be, black tax. There's nothing bad about helping your relatives, your family. Okay. Sharing is who we are as Africans. It's in our DNA. It's our way of life. But the important aspect of this is that if you don't manage it properly, if you don't do it, if you don't approach it strategically, it's like there's no way out. The people you're trying to help back home or wherever they are, they won't be satisfied, they won't be secured financially. And you here too will just be, suffering, or you'll be not financially safe and secured. Okay. So I think that there is what you call a insightful strategy to do this, especially even for, let's say, for the ones that are coming here to study or the ones that comes here new, because once you figure out a way to handle this, it becomes much easier. Okay. You become aware of how to manage it. And once you know how to manage it, you'll be safe, and the people that you're trying to help as well will be secured. So I think the first point coming to this, how you manage this, is that you have to drive clear in strategy and intention. So when you give money, for example, or when you are sending this money, no matter how much small it is, you have to do it without any kind of emotion attached to it. You set your boundary clearly, have a clear conversation, and then talk openly about what you can give and how often you can actually do it. Okay. Because if you just think that, okay, for example, maybe let's say for those of them, maybe you're earning, I don't know, 5,000 euros or 10,000 euros per month. And by the way, it's also important for you to know that the more money you make, the more you want to give, especially if this is already part of your life. So that is why you need to actually draw a line and say, okay, this is what I'm giving, this is what this money I'm giving, this is what is saving, and you make sure that you are actually investing forward and not backward. So yeah, I talked about openly having conversation so that the people you are trying to help, they are on the same page with you. Because also, you know that if you don't give, the emotional burden that you'll be carrying, the guilt that we'll be carrying, is sufficient enough also to get you depressed. Okay. So that is why you have to just make it very, very clear, especially if you want to be financially independent, you want to be financially free. You have to have this conversation. There is no point, letting people know that you can help them when you cannot, right? So you create that, what you call accountability for giving. So if you're sending money monthly, where it's going, what problem is solving, so that you don't perpetually feed that cycle of you just send money, you don't understand what that money is doing, and then also they don't know the real situation that you are in, right? So I think the biggest mistake that I can share with you people that I did in my early on was that, of course, I was able to take care of my younger ones, which I was happy because that was something that I could say that, okay, I manage it very well. But bear in mind, at this point, my extended family, my uncles, my aunties, my siblings, they were really even too young to even manage these monies themselves. So at that point, I have some issues, but I was able to manage it because the main thing was for me to make sure my sisters, they have a good place, they have their schools, they are secured, and that sort of thing. But my biggest mistake was they were telling me to, when they asked me for money, I wasn't strategically giving it and doing it at a time. Because I was thinking, of course, you feel guilt if you don't give, but guilt is if you want to have a financial sort of, if you're making financial plan for your future, for your family, guilt is not part of it. That's not going to get you anywhere. You have to be like intentional, you have to be strategic and remove, separate emotion from it, right? So if you don't do these things, you might easily kind of compromise your own future and the future of your children. So you can't save others if you are really not okay yourself. So my mistake, like I said, it was that I didn't initially being able to start what I call, which is what I'll be sharing with you guys, how my main strategy, how I dealt with it, that it doesn't bother me and everybody's fine. Today I have my grandma who is 112 years old. She's in my payroll. Every month she have 250 euros from me, and I'll tell you how that came about. And then I have my uncles that I'm helping as well. My sisters, they're all like fine doing their own things. So, but still, that didn't end my helping and taking care of people back home, right? So, how I dealt with it, which is the strategies, and this is very, very important. This is something that I think if you don't take anything from this talk, I think this is it. And I would appreciate, or I would be open to take any questions that you guys might have in terms of how you plan this, how you execute it to avoid, many, 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 many mistakes. So now the strategy I used, which of course is part of mistake, is that, okay, you get the money, it's from your salary or whatever job you're doing, you share, you send, right? The most important thing now, sometimes some people say they won't be able to maybe even paying their rent and taking care of their costs and expenses here might even be a problem. So once you start spending that money, that whether if you're an entrepreneur or you are just an employee, so you get money, the money you send there, it doesn't do anything, it's gone, it's dead, right? And then the next thing is that they're asking for more, because you've sent, for example, you might send money now this month, and then the 2 weeks later they tell you someone is going to the hospital, a member of your family or relative and stuff like that. How are you going to do that when you know that, okay, whatever amount or the money you have, the money you send to them might be the deal breaker for them. It might keep someone alive, or it might, like, it has huge significant importance. And then you only depend on your salary, right? What happens is that there is no replacement for that. So, and that is the cycle of this perpetual process of send again, and then you scrub, and then you send again. And everybody is just struggling, whether it is where you are or where you are sending the money to. So, but what I managed to do after some time, and here is the thing, here is the crux of it all. I managed to actually, because your social network also is so important. The information you get, how like being financially knowledgeable and knowing how money works, that can also be like really, really deal breaker. That could be like something that can set, people free in this regard. So what I did specifically, right? I had conversations with some of my, within my social network here. So I begin to learn about, money and how you save and invest, different investment portfolio and that sort of thing. So what I did, listen to this. So I separated complete 3 years, like 3 years. There is no expenditure. There is no like every way, like every means of me spending money, I just cut it off completely, right? Guess what? I was lucky. Nobody died. Everybody was living fine. There was no problem at all. But here's what happened. So every money that I received, let's say the reason why this is important, if you want to break this cycle, okay, is that even if you're cleaning floor in this country, whatever job you're doing, it doesn't matter. Okay. If you are able to earn, let's say, I don't know, the average. Okay, let's say if you're able to earn like say 3,000 euros a month, okay, or 3,500, right? There are different investment asset class that you can put this money every month. If you take out, let's say, it doesn't matter how much you earn, but at least, or let me emphasize it this way, the job that you're doing that pays you, let's say 2,000 euros or 2,005 or 1,008, whatever amount it is, right? Take everything as much as you can, put it in different investment class. I cannot talk much in detail about this, but for those of you that are interested or you want to know more, you can reach out, and then I can, take you through the process and what you need to do so that after 3 years, you will be completely free, right? So what I did was because as an entrepreneur also myself, the money that I'm making, I was taking everything, putting them into this. In my case, I have four different asset class investment that I'm putting my money. So from say January, let's say for example now, someone who is earning like 1,500 or let's say 2,000 euros, or you're earning like 3,005, okay? You take out 2,000 from your salary. Remember, at this time, you're going to leave you're going to just make sure like everything is tight from the money aspect. Okay, there is no spending, there is no extra anything. Just take that money, put it into this different investment asset class. Okay, do it from January to December. So let's say if you're putting 2,000 euros from January to December, that's 22,000. So 22,000 times 3, right? And by the way, when you already started investing the first year, okay, there's a return that is going to be that will come from that money. And then and then you do it the second year, and then you do it the third year. After third year, now there is what we call dividend in this sort of asset class that I'm investing in. So that dividend is not even the main asset that your main asset fund. So the dividend alone can even run as high as many thousands of euros. Okay? And that is what you use now to see, okay, I'm giving my grandma 350 euro a month. I'm helping my extended, like my cousins, my uncles, and stuff like that. In that way, you are not spending a dime from your salary, or your source of your main source of income is secured. And by the way, the more your money stays in those different asset classes, the more it's growing. Okay? For me, that was the deal breaker. That was the exact thing that I did. And you know why this is good? Good strategy. You know why this is good? Because I was able to, anyone can do it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what kind of job you have. But if you are really intentional about taking care of this issue, that you have people that need your help, and you know you have to help them, you have to find a good way, you have to find a way of doing it. Because the money that you're sending out, not knowing that that money that you're sending is something that can actually replicate that to a point where it's not about your salary. Because once you dilute your salary, once you take from your salary, it doesn't replace. And this is so important, because the issue of economic sustainability, until we are sustained economically, we wouldn't have the free mind, the free thought to think about, oh, do we need to develop a skill that can serve us? Do we have talent that we need to build on? What is it that, how can we help our kids financially, so that if anything happened to us today, they have something to fall back on? Do we want to continuously invest backward, or we want to invest forward? Because here in Finland, for example, when parents pass on, their kids don't go around running everywhere. It doesn't happen that way. One, they have social security that help them. And secondly, many of them also have inheritance. But for us Africans, we don't have it. And we have to develop a way to actually come to a point where we have to think about this, so that we break up everything about this perpetual cycle that we are in. So with that, I think we are ready for questions. I think I will stop it here. So if you have Charity, if we have some questions there, or if someone needs to talk straight to the open mic, please, let's do so.
Thank you so much. Before I give my 1 or 2 cents, we can go to the questions. Miriam is asking, did you communicate about the 3 years break to those at home?
No.
Oh, so you went cold turkey.
Yeah, I went cold turkey.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I think there was a reason why I went cold turkey. At this point, it wasn't directly to my younger ones, because there was already, at this point, they'll be able to go to school and they have everything they needed. They are able to, like, they are taking care of themselves. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the thing that made me to go this cold turkey was because my uncles, especially my uncles, right? I've tried already to set up a small business for them, like car business, where they have different like transportation company, where they are moving people, like using these buses to drive. Like at the time I had like 3 buses, they run it down. So all that behavior made me to just close all of them out and then give myself that time, because I still want to help. I still feel that, you know, it's something that I feel like it makes like I understand that, you know, giving and helping out is part of who we are. And I want people here to also understand that it's not like this is just a personal choice, a personal decision. So yes, so I just gave everyone like I just kind of went out of the whole, like there's no communication. And after 3 years, I'm able to come back and, you know, and even as we speak now, have those emergency funds is there. I'm not saying, hey, come and take the money now or anything like that, but it doesn't affect what I'm doing here or how I'm living. And I guess that's the point.
Okay. Wow. Esu is asking, can you highlight a bit about some of the investments options?
So yeah, you know, there's so there are different investment options that you can look into. Okay. So there are shares investment. I'm not talking about trading or anything like that. So if you look at, of course, these are not like investment options that are very popular. If you think about, let's say, companies within AI, for example, okay? And then now there are all these companies now because of the fight in Europe. So there are all these military companies that actually, like, their stocks are just going high, going up, because every country now are just putting money to build their military software. So there are different ways to actually go into those different kind of stocks. So there are the ones that are like very popular now. Like I said, you look at the NVIDIA, you look at OpenAI, you look at some medical companies within the medical space. As you know, there's huge sort of interest around, you know, devices, webbing devices and stuff like that. So those are like different sectors that are growing in terms of funds. So it's a question of finding some, if you haven't. And the thing is that you don't need to be expert in this to actually do it. It's a basic kind of search that you can do that will give you some kind of, like, just a kind of a basic understanding where to put money. And from there, you can start to just build on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question. But of course, I can, have more, I can go more in detail if someone wants more information.
Thank you so much. Do we have more questions? I think everybody's quiet. In Kenya, we have this, what is it called? Money market, where you put money and then after a year, it starts to grow interest. So that one, I think if you're a Kenyan, you know about it. You must have known about it. I don't know about the other countries, but I know in Kenya also my parents, they are in it. They put, you can even put as much as 20 euros per month, and then after a year it starts to grow. And some of what I know Kenyans, like what my parents did, they came up as a group of people so that they put a lot of money, then they divide the interest that it gets. So that's another way of motivating. Like you can even encourage your parents to do that. There's also table banking, where they save, women come together and they save money on the table. They contribute like €5 and they come like per week. So €5 per week, and somebody takes it and they get to start a business or something. But I think the 3 years cold turkey, I think it's a bit of a challenge. I think that can happen only if they are at a stable point, not like there's no death, there's nobody who needs urgent medical care that you can go cold turkey. But also I think maybe you can explain to them, for those who are wondering, maybe have a discussion with them, with the immediate family members, not like everybody else. Because I believe like with our parents are the priorities and our siblings. So when that inner circle is covered, or they're okay, then for the rest, it's like being nice, choosing to help. So you can either go cold turkey or just explain it. So do we have any questions?
So Charity,
Yeah.
thank you for actually your contributions. I think like if in life, let's say, let me try to say this. I think life as when you take life as an experiment, there is dependent variables and you have independent variables. So you have things that you can control, and then also you have some certain things that obviously that is out of your own control. So in articulating life as an African, I begin to think that there are independent variables that, if personally, if I plug into that the ability to transform my life is certain, okay? So, or the ability to actually independently manage black tax is also certain. And that's why I'm able to I'm happy to share this information, especially for those of them that are actually coming to Europe or coming out, because once you start, they don't stop. Once you start giving, or once they have this feeling that you can help them, they don't really know how it is and what sort of constraint that you face in order to be able to help. So it has the ability to change the trajectory of your financial future, basically. So I think what is important is actually start clear, smart investment, okay? And you have discipline in spending, and then have some kind of long-term thinking about money, not just now, or let's just spend, or they pay you money, or you are working, you receive your salary, and that's it. You have to have that sort of long-term thinking. And that could be like really also be developing a clear roadmap to help you make wise decisions and master the basics, so you build real wealth and reach your goals faster. Because think about it, I just talked about 3 years, right? But before you know it, 3 years is past, and all the stress or maybe the difficulties you might have in that time trying to accumulate this money so that it can turn to your situation can be that actually you have money, right? That can work for you, okay? 3 years is not forever, but if you don't first have a smart investment understanding, and then also making smart spending decision with long-term thinking, you won't even understand that. And that is why it's also probably, as people live here today, I want them to ask themselves, this question. So I want you to ask yourself, what is that is preventing you? Or ask yourself, what is preventing me from having a rich and robust, thriving financial life that I want so bad? That's the beginning. Have that clarity, because there is no destination without a vision. And you cannot just pray your way to wealth. It doesn't work that way. That is why in Africa, our problem, it continues, because you haven't sat down once and think, or even if you have thought about it, but if you are also doing it in the wrong way, based on the network that you have around you, there's no way you're going to come out of this. If anything, you're hoping that for those of them that have kids, you took care of your parents or people in your family, the same thing is going to happen to your kids. They're still going to grow up, get to that point where they're going to be taking care of you, and you are also becoming a burden to them. So you become this generational thing. But if you are the type that said, hey, I want to break this cycle, I want to do something about it, you can. And the good news is that even if you have just the small, like the least job in this country, that is sure that you're having this constant income for at least 3 years. If it means go and sleeping on the floor with someone, go and do it and get that money, put it in these investment classes. I'm telling you, give yourself 3 years, your life is going to change. But if you don't do it, you're going to remain in the same situation. Okay? 3 years is just a minimum. What I did that worked for me. Today, I have control of everything I'm doing, at least. If I want to go to sleep, I go to sleep. If I want to take nap in the afternoon, I take nap. I control my own life, right? So every one of you can do something similar. It's not the same, but I think there's a way to do it. So ask yourself that question and see where you are. Because if you ask, like I said, as an independent thinker, okay, and an entrepreneur, and other people who believe in the theory of network, right? They will say, or I will say, in fact, what is robbing most of you from dignity is not your inability to access money or power. That's not it. There are a lot of things you can't control. Still, there are things that you can control. And those are the things that, what you can control, that's what you should focus on. Like I'm saying now, those are the things that I can independently control because I can do it. And that can stem from, like that stems from, certainly not, like I said, it's not your inability to access power or money or that sort of thing. But really it is the poverty, the network poverty, the network impoverishment, right? That you are facing. That's the problem. So you might start thinking, how good is my social network? The people that I know, what kind of information am I consuming? How is that taking me from the point where I am to where I need to be? Right?
It's 1 minute. I think from here, we can end the recording so that people can talk freely.
Sure.
It's going to be on YouTube. So to safeguard people's privacy and to enable a safe space, I think we need to end the recording and then we can continue with the conversation, if that's okay with you.
Sure, definitely.
Okay.